did he have to do to find the peace and serenity the Sunday school teacher talked about for the last 2 years? Every Sunday, he faced the hope of deliverance in the low-ceilinged church basement, surrounded by dark-framed depictions of suffering. The teacher implanted a level of fear in young Charles that made him feel only with the acceptance of the Lord as Savior and the peace of redemption could the damnation that stalked him as he slept be withdrawn. This seemingly unattainable state of mind became a lumpy pillow he grappled with night after night. As he turned his head to face the wall, gargoyles and demon faces formed in the cedar lamplight, fading in and out of focus a few inches from his face. Malicious stares of accusation lurked on the wall of the attic dead space just beyond his bedside. He strained his hearing, trying to catch any sounds of torment coming from within the walls, but only the eerie, low droning of mud wasps building their nests came back to him, and the hot, stagnant air of the attic was like a predator's breath on the back of his neck. The eyes and mouths of the faces twisted and skewed into the most horrible grimaces. If he closed his eyes, he could make them disappear, but unable to sleep, he kept returning to this disturbing vision. The pattern repeated every few panels, haunting him with a host of evil faces. The pre-dawn light from distant French doors only increased his desperation, making the evil ones dance and shift, his nearest exit too far away for safety. Unable to stand the terror any longer, and needing to pee badly, he bolted from his covers and scrambled downstairs to the bathroom. The chill of the house and cold linoleum on his feet was welcome relief. Charles crept out of the bathroom through the darkened old farmhouse. He dressed silently on the stairs below his bedroom, where he had thrown his clothes. Passing through the kitchen, he stuffed 2 of his mother's cheese and onion scones into his coat pocket before slipping out the back porch door. He called softly, "Come, Rex," to a large red collie at the open kennel gate. He longed to be on the open road, free, content, and safely away from the fiends that haunted his agonized nights. In the early morning mist, Alberta Radcliffe leaned against her gatepost, one hand resting on the barrel of her shotgun, a sentry to protect her livestock from marauding packs of dogs. The sun barely licked the fir tops stretching away to the east, where milky blotches of mist still hung. The chilling wafts of sea breeze shivered the loose ends of her scarf. Folds of wrinkled, loose flesh hung yellow and waxen from her neck. She gazed up and down her expanse of dust-whitened roadway. The dew from the brush she stood in seeped through tiny holes in her barnyard rubber boots and around her toes, piercing like tiny cold nails. It reminded her that she was alone and abandoned, physically and mentally, widowed several years earlier, and now unable and unwilling to make contact with her son or daughter. The wetness insinuated its way up her canvas overalls, over her clammy calves, on its way to her thighs. She, too, would have to retreat soon, and she gathered her mackinaw more tightly around her abdomen and buttocks. To her left began a faint, slow whine that progressed into a low hum and constant whir. She cocked the firearm and waited, crouching slightly behind the gatepost. Suddenly, splitting the mist, a boy on a bicycle appeared. He pulled sharply sideways to stop on the far side of the narrow road, his running shoes dug deep into the gravel on the shoulder above a shallow ditch. "Where you be off to, boy?" She lowered the gun slowly, resting and leveling it on the page wire fence, her bushy eyebrows lowered in a frown obscuring her eyes completely. The boy stammered, Good morning, Mrs. Radcliffe. It's me, Charles. I'm going to the store for my mom." She held the gun pointed down until a flash of the red-haired collie came crashing from the bush, bounding up to the boy's side. Then she raised the twin bleed metal barrels like an accusing finger. "Is that your doggy?" she asked, words measured out in a voice like a low growl. "Yes, Rex is with me always. Haven't you ever seen me with him?" The dog ran up oblivious to all and stood with paws on the bicycle's handlebars. His tongue coated in saliva and bits of leaves and dead grasses hung out of his mouth to one side as he panted heavily. "Nay, not for a long time now. Not since you were much younger and smaller, and I could watch you pass by here with your father. was the reply from behind the shotgun stock held against her cheek. Please, ma'am, look at me, not him. He's a good dog, Charles pleaded as the huge collie loped off to hunt and sniff through the nearby ditches. Charles dreaded what could come next. His parents warned him about neighbors and how they felt about his jaunts with a dog running loose on their property. Charles remembered his parents' description of her as opinionated, quick to judge, and to be avoided. He searched her face for a clue. Sometimes adult faces were hard to read, would hide or change true feelings, unlike the faces of friends who wore windows in their eyes.